Hey, everybody. Give me just 1 second to put the dogs out, and then we will go live. Oh, that's how it works. If you're going to go live, your dogs will immediately bark 1 second afterwards. All right. Well, pardon the barks. Give me a 1 in chat if you guys can hear me. Appreciate you letting me know for sure. My audio cut out about 25. Kept on talking very, very quietly. But let's see here. Let me get my bearings. I'm out of town right now, but here as promised on this Friday, and I'm going to go over some cool things I think people would like to know about. Some advanced category editing. Sounds very mysterious, but I'm going to show you guys something that I think is pretty cool. Yep. So yeah, give me a 1 in chat if you can hear me. I would appreciate that. I'm going to just open up my GSheets here while you guys are doing that. All right. Cool. Okay, this is gonna work. Just making sure I had everything prepped here for you guys before the call. And I do. It's looking good. Okay. All right. I don't see any ones. You guys got to wake up. Give me some ones if you guys can hear me. I hope you can hear me. Maybe you can't hear me. Don't give me a 1 if you can hear me. If you can hear me today. Let's see. All right. Wrote in chat here. Man, I'm hoping you guys can hear me. StreamYard does a really good job broadcasting, but one thing it doesn't seem to do is it doesn't show you any kind of like noise levels as you're talking to just confirm that people can hear you. Let's see. Something's wrong with my Facebook share. There we go. All right. I'm live on Facebook too. All right. Well, you guys are awful quiet. I'd love to know up front if you guys are having any specific challenges with categories. What did you guys hope that you were going to see today when you joined based on this nebulous advanced category editing? Tell me in chat what you guys are hoping to hear from today, and I'm going to get started with what I'm planning to show you guys today, which is some cool stuff. All right, so let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, so let me show you what I got going on. So for this test store here, Blue Ocean Ride, which is not live yet. You've probably seen it in some of my other videos, though. I have a couple categories here that we have set up, and we have a test product in each of these. So you can see I have an electronics category spelled loudly, a general, motorcycle helmets, jackets, boots, gloves, heated gloves. And if I go to the front end of the site and click refresh here in motorcycle helmets category, you can see it says motorcycle helmets, and it's got a motorcycle helmet. It says test product, $99. If I click into one of the other categories, you'll see it also has the same product because I just put the same product in all categories for this moment, just to have something here that we can work on. Now, what I want to show you guys today is how to do some quote unquote advanced category editing. Now, this site only has 7 categories, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all together. But imagine, you had more categories like my RV Gear Pro site that has, I don't know, probably 80 categories, 100 categories, something like that. That's a lot of categories to edit. One of the things that people don't do very often or don't do enough of is put text in their categories. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that today using a GSheet. Now, if you've already tried to populate categories in the past using BigCommerce, you're probably saying right now, yeah, but I can't import I can't import a CSV for categories. I can't import category descriptions, so I got to put them all in one at a time, right? Right, except if you use the API. Now, using the API is super codey. And so, not everybody has access to that type of know-how, and you may have not enough categories to really make it worth it, like this example here with Blue Ocean Ride. So if you only have 7 or 10 or 20 categories, you're like, well, it's not worth paying a bunch of money to have somebody write an API script to push all this category information in. But let me show you what I've built out using GSheets. And like I said, anytime during this video, let me know what you guys were hoping to see when you came into this category. Maybe I can answer questions if I'm not already answering them and showing you guys what I'm about to do. Okay, let me show you what I've built out. Let me empty this category or this tab out. So I'm in sheet 3. I have built out an app script on Google Sheets. And the purpose of this video really is to just show you that the API is not as crazy sounding as it's not as crazy as it really sounds. It's not completely unapproachable, and you can use it to build tools. And so if you find yourself doing things on BigCommerce in mass very manually, think about how, working with a team like me and my team might really leverage your team a lot better. For example, something I did for a guy last week is he had 8,000 products in his store and they all had bulk pricing, and bulk pricing isn't on the CSV for products. And so he was looking at the possibility of having to go into 8,000 products and remove this, because that's what he wanted to do, is remove bulk pricing in order to give discounts to people in a different way. But that's 8,000 manual actions. Even if you take 2 or 3 minutes to do one product, like that's 16,000 minutes. that's a ton of time, right? But with the API, you could do that all at once. And I ended up writing a small batch program that just cycled through all of his products and removed all of his bulk pricing. And it took way less time than it would have to do it manually, right? Now, this is something I'm showing you guys different. We are going to be communicating with this BigCommerce store through the API, but we're going to be using Google Sheets as an interface to do it. So in apps, in extensions app script, this is what really opens your GSheets up to do amazing things, because you can write small programs like what I've done in here. And so this program has several different functions, including one to initially get your API key and your store hash. That way you don't have to save it in here, but it'll save it in your GSheets memory. And it'll go through here, and some of the other functions are to, well, I'll show you guys. Get BigCommerce category data. And so when I push that and run it, then it goes ahead and uses the API to download all of the categories one by one onto the active sheet. So I just downloaded all 7 categories. You can see that. Now, each one has a category ID, which is normal. You don't normally see that super exposed in BigCommerce, but every product has an ID, every category has an ID, every customer has an ID, like every object in the BigCommerce database has an ID. And it's important that it stays here so that when we communicate back through the API, it knows what we're talking about. But you can see that it brought in the names of each one. It brought in my existing descriptions for each one, which is nothing. It brought in my parent IDs, and it brought in the meta title and the meta description. And so this is what I've programmed this app script to do, is bring in these 6 fields after cycling through every category in the store. So if there was 100 categories, there would be 100 lines plus the header right here on the G sheet. How cool is that? Hey, I finally got a 1. Thanks, Soy. Appreciate you being here. Somebody's got to give me a 1, so I appreciate it. It's more than just you here, but we got some quiet lurkers, and that's okay. You guys got some shy ones. That's cool. All right, let's keep going. So now what we have is we have a CSV that has all of our category data in it. Great, that's half the battle. Now, as you can imagine, what I'm going to tell you is there's also a function in this script to beam this stuff back up to BigCommerce. Okay, so while there exists no CSV import export in BigCommerce, you can see that, with, a couple hundred lines of JavaScript, not too crazy, you can actually make your own CSV import export to BigCommerce. How cool is that, right? And I've made that with this right here. And I'll show you guys an example. So one of the things that you want to do to optimize your categories is, first of all, you want to make sure that your categories, like the names, are long tail. Like gloves could be anything. That could be gardening gloves. It could be horse riding gloves. It could be whatever. So this isn't very descriptive of what I have in this motorcycle accessory store. So I probably want to change this gloves category to be called motorcycle gloves, right? And if I want to show you guys how that works to sync it back up, I'm going to come in here and choose sync BigCommerce product data and run it. And it takes just a second with this amount of data. It might take up to a minute if you had a lot more. But now if I come back to my category structure, look at that, motorcycle gloves. So this is how we can become super dangerous and change our category information in masse. So I'm going to change this to motorcycle boots. I'm going to change this to motorcycle jackets. I'm going to change this to heated motorcycle gloves. I'm going to change this to motorcycle, and I'm going to rewrite it to take out all the caps angriness. Motorcycle electronics. And I'm going to just change this to be motorcycle accessories. Now, when it pushes this back up, it's matching whatever's here to the ID that's here, right? And this is why the ID is so important, because if this was your unique identifier, then if we change the name, you would effectively be creating a new category, okay? So don't mess with you don't want to mess with the IDs in this situation. You just want to mess with really everything else, okay? And let's go ahead and sync that up. Oh, same thing. I'm just going to click run. Takes a minute. Come back here and refresh Rooney. Look how good this looks. Everything is longer tail now. I have a chance of ranking, which is awesome. Okay. How do you guys feel about that so far? Is that pretty cool? Would that save you some time? If you guys like this, I'm going to consider putting it into our e-commerce amplifiers premium community. Is just something you guys could take. Okay. I'll come back and talk about that later too, by the way. Well, I guess I could talk about it now. Just quick 30-second plug. We have a community e-commerce amplifiers for store owners like you and me. And, it's a place for us to meet together, talk about things, ask each other's questions, solve problems. And as I build courses, as I build cool tools like this, I'm just going to probably give most of it to you guys straight in the community. All right. Getting more viewers. Appreciate you guys being here. So we're going over some advanced category editing on BigCommerce. And if you just are getting here, I was just showing a GSheet that I built using an app script to communicate with BigCommerce to pull down all of my categories and push them up after I make changes. Okay. Now I'm going to keep on going on this. So some other things you guys would probably want to fill in, obviously, description, meta title, meta description. Okay. Now, 1 second, I got a cough. Oh yeah, if you're joining late too, post a comment here of what you were hoping I was going to show you when I posted this as advanced category editing. And if this is what you guys are hoping to see, that's great too. Now, you guys may or may not be aware that there's this thing out there called ChatGPT. And you may or may not be aware that there are apps already out there, or add-ons, I guess they call it, for GSheets that let you utilize ChatGPT inside a GSheet, right? Now, there is a small cost to use these. I'm going to show you guys this one called GPT for slides, sheets, docs. I think there's like 3 or 4 of these things out there, and they all kind of work the same way. Now, I've put together let me grab this GPT command. And basically the way it works is you write equals GPT, and then whatever you would go into GPT and ask for, create me a Christmas list. You just put it in quotes here, and it'll reach out using ChatGPT's API and return back whatever GPT would have given you. I personally think I think it works a little bit better than GPT itself, because GPT is trying to be so conversational with you at this point and ask you all these questions and things. And I feel like using GPT through their API actually gets a lot more straight to the point, which I like a lot. Okay, I'm going to paste in this command that I wrote out prior to this call, so you guys wouldn't have to watch me fiddle around. It says, help me create a unique introduction paragraph for the e-commerce category called motorcycle helmets. So this is me asking it to write a 3-sentence description here for each of these categories. Now, this is for real. This isn't just, if Google's watching. I know Google hits people that talk about using GPT and anything on the web. Only use GPT to create your first draft. So whatever this creates, you should go back through it and edit it yourself and make it sound amazing. But this is a great way to get everything there at once, get you a starting point, and then you just slam through the categories yourself, which you can do right on this sheet, or you can do on the categories in BigCommerce, right? So let me just read this for you. Help me create a unique introduction paragraph for the e-commerce category motorcycle helmets. It should be 3 sentences max and around 75 words. It should focus on the category products and speak to the buyer intent of someone searching for this type of product. It should sound like a human and be free of fluff. Okay, so when I click enter, I'm going to make this wrap. Oops. Make this wrap for real. There we go. And let me change these to the top. Okay, so here's what it came up with. So this would be like a bit of text to put above your product grid. And you don't want to put too much stuff there, but you don't also want to waste the opportunity to put some words there. And you want it to be something that sounds great for the reader, doesn't get in the way, doesn't push things down very much at all. But it's a good opportunity to get a couple of words and be optimized for the category. So what it wrote was, looking for a reliable source of protection for your rides, look no further than our selection of motorcycle helmets. Whether you are a seasoned rider or just starting out, our helmets offer top-notch safety features and stylish designs to suit your needs. Stay safe and look great on the road with our range of quality motorcycle helmets. To be honest, that sounds really good. What I do to proof anything that GPT writes is I read it out loud. And if it makes sense when I read it out loud, and I don't read it in my head, I read it out loud, because then it gets, it speaks through my voice, and sometimes things get tangled when you actually read them with your mouth instead of with your head. And you'll know if it sounds mangled if you can't hardly read it, So I would read this and I would, proof it, punch it up as much as makes sense. And then we basically have a description. So what I do at that point is I just come to this field description and I say equals that, and that copies it over, right? Copies it over just like that. So if I come back to my app script, go back to sync BigCommerce data, just click run again. Then my motorcycle helmets category should now have a description. Boom, look at that. So it's some good text. It's not too much. It's not getting in the way. It's kind of perfect. That's 75 words is probably a good amount of words for most people's like category toppers, right? So this page has 75 words, which is a lot better than 0. And I know a lot of you guys out there have 0 on your page. So right here, if you just stop right here, then we're making improvements, right? And all you'd have to do at this point to do this for all of the rest of the categories is come back here, drag this down. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to change one thing because I had hard coded this to be motorcycle helmet. So let me show you how to fix this. Let me delete these. Okay, so I want to make this grab the category name as part of this. And so here's what I need to do is I need to come in here and say concatenate and then this. So that means I'm going to add a couple things together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say take this part out, and in between I'm going to call this name, this category name, right? So it'll say help me create a unique introduction paragraph for the e-commerce category, fill in the blank. There you go. And you can see I wrote it in a way that doesn't really mention the category any other place. So now if I drag this down, it's going to do it for all 7 of these categories. All right, so this paragraph is about motorcycle gloves, motorcycle boots, motorcycle jacket, and so on, right? So again, if I click to fill down over here, it's going to just grab all those, and then I can push those up. Just like that, super, super easy. All right. But it doesn't stop there. Let me just show you guys that it worked. Go to motorcycle boots. Great. Here we go. Motorcycle jackets. There you go. Motorcycle jacket. And you know, each one of these is written for that specific category. So this talks about classic leather to modern textile. We have something that fits everybody's needs. Sounds really good. Okay. But 75 words on a page, we can do better than that. And we don't want to junk it up. So a little bit of missed opportunity that people have frequently is putting additional content down below here, right? So you don't want to junk up your above the fold too much with words, but putting stuff down here can be helpful, especially if it's helpful content, and it should always be helpful content. And it's going to be below the product. So additional words down here, if you put 300 to 500 words, it's not going to get in the way so much. So let's go ahead and write that as well. Okay, I'm going to make these just a little bit thinner. And I'm going to freeze this at 2 columns just so we can slide over a little bit. Okay, so we're going to just call this the GPT description top. And then let's call this next one here GPT description bottom. Okay. Now I've written out a similar command for the bottom. So let me show you what that looks like. Now this one's a little bit longer because I want this to, this down here to be 300 to 500 words. Okay. So here's what it says. I need to create some additional content for the motorcycle helmets category page of my e-commerce store. It should address the intent of the shopper and provide them helpful information in order to make a decision on how to buy something from this category. It should include a paragraph or 2 and then an unordered list featuring key factors to make a good buying decision, followed by another paragraph or 2, including a call to action. Overall, this content should help the buyer understand the risks or the factors they should consider in making a purchase in this category of products. Please write this content. Okay. And again, this is hard-coded to include motorcycle helmets, so we'll run it, see how it looks, and then we'll change it to be, we'll change it to include the dynamic category title. Do you guys have questions so far? Am I losing anybody? You guys got to post your questions. I'm powered by questions here. Okay, here's what it wrote. Wow, that's a big chunk. Let me wrap that. Okay, I'm going to read this to see if it sounds natural. When it comes to choosing the right motorcycle helmet, there are a variety of factors to consider in order to make the best decision for your safety and comfort. Whether you're a seasoned writer or a beginner, finding the perfect helmet can make a significant difference in your writing experience. Key factors to consider when purchasing a motorcycle helmet: safety ratings, fit and comfort, style and visibility, price and budget. These all sound really good. Ultimately, the right motorcycle helmet will provide you with both safety and comfort, allowing you to enjoy your rides with peace of mind. That feels a little bit weird, so I would probably change that. Don't hesitate to reach out to our customer service team if you have any questions or need assistance in making your decision. Your safety is our top priority, and we're here to help you find the perfect helmet for your needs. Shop our selection of motorcycle helmets today and ride with confidence. To be honest, it sounds fantastic. Okay, so this sounds really good. Let's show you how I add that in. I'm going to come back here to description, and I'm going to say concatenate G2, comma, H2. So now it'll include the top and the bottom in the same field. And then what I'm going to do is something that I showed you guys in a prior video, and I can post this code in our community too if you guys like, where I come in here and I add 3 pipes. And I'm going to surround it with space just to make it not look weird, right? But 3 pipes, so category description top, 3 pipes, category description bottom. So that puts all of that stuff in the same field. Okay. And let's push it out and see what happens. You guys still with me? This is your chance. Throw some questions at me. It is pushing. Okay, let's see. This is for the motorcycle helmets category. Look at that. Now you're asking yourself, what the heck? How did it go above and below? Right? So on a prior video, I talked about something cool that you can do with descriptions is you can actually split it using a comma delimiter, wow, I butchered that. Using a delimiter, you can split it just like you can split anything else, just like you can split a CSV. In this case, I'm telling the category page in the code. This is where I'm tying a couple different things together here for you guys. Under templates, pages, category, I have some code here where instead of just saying category description, I'm saying up here, if the category description, if I use this delimiter, if I use this delimiter, how many occurrences of the delimiter is there? And if there's more than 0, then go ahead and split it and take that first chunk and put it in front of the products. And then down here, I'm doing a similar thing, except I'm taking the last chunk and putting it down below the products. Hence, that one field becomes 2 fields, which is really powerful if you're trying to edit your categories, faster and not use a bunch of page builder widgets, which would require you to go into every single category in the customizer. You can do it right through the description field itself. And because the description field is available through the API, if you're going to do something like this category API tool that I've built out with GSheets, you could see that you could actually do this really quick, right? So let me talk about one thing here. First of all, it doesn't look that good down here because it's kind of all just shoved into the same, the same spot. It didn't have any formatting in it, although it did have formatting, in the G sheet. It just didn't come across when it hit the front end. So what we could do is we could actually ask GPT when it makes this to say format as HTML elements. Okay, so that's going to put in like p tags and ul tags and stuff like that when it creates it. And I'm going to do the same thing here with this top part. Let it rebuild a minute. Okay, so it gave us some pretty, clean enough looking code here. H2, p tags, ul, list items. The top one is just all 1p, which is great. And you can see that because our description field is just mapping these, it's now got all that HTML in it. And if we come back here and rerun it, and go to the front end and refresh Rooney. Look at that, you guys. I don't like the shop helmets at the end with a bad link, but again, this should only be rough draft. You should edit all of this stuff. But this has really come out pretty good, I would say. Okay. Let's keep going. So let's see here. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Going to get rid of that. And so now what we need to do is we need to do what we did here, which is make this category specific, which is the same exact thing. We're going to add concatenate to here. We need to add an extra bracket at the end. And then right here where it says motorcycle helmets, we're going to take that out and add a quotation, comma, comma, quotation, and then in between the two commas, we're going to put in the motorcycle helmets name cell. Okay, so now we've got these two looking really good. If we copy these down, then it's going to fill in all of the rest of our categories all at once. Now you can see sometimes, like, ChatGPT does things a little bit crazy. Like here, put in like HTML and doc type. You don't want that kind of stuff. So you'll probably have to play with the commands to get it perfectly a little bit more. Like over here, we don't really want H1s in here. So we can say like no titles or H1s, for example. Copy that down. So you'll have to play with it a little bit, but as you can see here, you can end up generating your top and bottom descriptions for your whole site pretty easily. Now, what you really should consider, so far what I've showed you guys is really just like doing this, all at once for the whole store. What you really should consider is if you are creating your descriptions for all of your categories, what you could do is you could copy that whole category or that whole column and come over here and do paste special values. And that'll give you the exact same information, except that now it's not like GPT coded. Now it's actual text, which means that you could go through each one of these and make sure that it sounds perfect. So you could actually proof the one for motorcycle boots and say, okay, we don't want this welcome to motorcycle boots. That doesn't make any sense. We're already going to have an H1 on there. Up here, we don't want this H2 up here, right? So let's just take that out and rewrite whatever makes sense. Just read through this as a category, make sure nothing sounds bad, make sure everything sounds up to snuff. Up to snuff, man. That's an old that's an old saying. Sorry. If you guys don't know what that is, don't look it up. So now when I do it, I've just changed from the GPT'd description top to my corrected description top by changing from H2, which is where the description from GPT is, to the G2 column. And I would recommend just do the exact same thing for your description bottom too, to make sure it's not wrecked. And I'm going to just actually go ahead and do that here. I'm going to make a column left. I'm going to copy this whole column into it. Again, paste special values. And yeah, let's just look through these. Make sure they look great. Now I don't need these sections, so I'm going to go ahead and take that out. I do like the H2 at the bottom, so I'm going to leave that in. Now here, I don't need any of this junk. And I'm going to make this an H2 instead of an H1. And take out this shop now at the bottom because I didn't like that. Okay, on to the next one. This one's got a weird like 3 dots at the top and a div. So I'm going to take all that out. I'm going to come to the bottom, take that out as well. That looks pretty good. So, wow, this is a terrible title. Take that out. GPT is not perfect. You know, this is why people get penalized for just using raw GPT content, is because it doesn't sound quite right and Google knows it. So for surezies, edit all of your content. While I'm doing this, what kind of questions do you guys have? You got some free question time with me that you don't have to pay for. So ask away. Almost done. Fortunately, I only have 7 of these. Take out this shop now at the bottom too. All right, that's the bottom of it. So let's come back down to here, and we're going to change this J2 to the category that I edited, which was I2. And fill that down. Okay, I'll push this up, and I'm going to look for questions. No questions so far. You guys are killing me. But I hope you find this beneficial, what you're seeing so far. Just like, I think just knowing that you can do this kind of stuff it's everything, you know? And it's not that hard. Like if you have somebody build a tool like this for you, then you have a tool. Let's look at the rest of these. I think I pushed everything up. Let's see. Yep. Jackets right there. So I should include like an H2 at the bottom of all these. So that's something I would improve on a little bit further. What did I click on? Motorcycle boots. Motorcycle boots has top and bottom content. Let's see. Well, I think Sheets. Will it tell me a word count? Do you guys know if Sheets has a word count thing? I feel like it does, and I don't know where to find it. Okay, let's just go to word counter. I wanted to see how much content we added to these categories. So for the motorcycle boots category, I'm going to paste in the content that's below. I'm going to paste in the content that's above. So about 300 words. Not bad, and it certainly could be longer. I really recommend you guys also put in FAQs on your category page. I do like adding those using page builder widgets. We have a frequently asked questions or an accordion widget in our page builder widgets app available on BigCommerce. That would let you put in questions into accordions. You would have to do it category by category using the page builder, but it's very, very good user experience. You could technically, you know, if you wanted to get super codey, you could add questions and answers into your description and then use custom code to transform those into accordions. But you start getting a little bit rickety when you're try to make your description do, 4 or 5 things and power things with, some JavaScript or whatnot. So I recommend using the page builder widgets for that. Okay, so we have showed you guys how to use GSheets and app scripts to communicate to and from BigCommerce through their API to edit edit category names, descriptions. You can see on this sheet, I also have meta titles and meta descriptions, so you could totally implement those exactly the same way. You don't have to use GPT like I showed you guys in this video. That was just for the purpose of giving us some starter information and showing you guys how fast this can be to do this in mass. But I really recommend, again, using GPT just for a starter and, using that to populate the stuff initially and improving on it manually. All right. What kind of questions do you guys have? I'm going to mute myself while I blow my nose. All right. Did you guys find this useful? Is this the kind of tool that you guys would like to get your hands on? If it is, I'm strongly thinking about giving it away in our community, which is at e-commerce amplifiers. I'll just post like a post up there to show you how to use the sheet and give it away. If that's the case, you guys would need to join the community. The community is, here, let me get a link for it. Here, I'm grabbing you guys a link. I'm going to get you a coupon code too if you guys are interested in joining. I appreciate you guys joining on this live chat. Post your questions. Speak now before it's too late. And I think what I'm going to do with these live calls to get people to join them more and be a little bit more active, I think I'm going to post them and leave them up for, a couple days and then take them down. I kind of feel like people don't join in if they think that they can get access to it whenever. And these live calls are supposed to be collaborative, right? I want to hear from you guys. The whole point of me doing this live instead of recorded is I want the feedback. I want to know what questions you guys have. Sometimes I do these lives because it's something I'm planning a video for. And so the questions that you guys ask help me make a better video by knowing, the stuff that you need me to cover that I didn't necessarily cover in the video. And I hope that makes sense. All right, let me get my coupon code for you guys. All right. So Soy wants to know, or Soy says, need to watch this a couple more times. I guess I did go through some big things pretty quickly. But I'm going to leave it up on YouTube Live for a week, I think. So you're safe to watch it here for a week. After that, I might just repost it inside the community. Yeah. What other questions do we have? Okay. Affiliates, analytics, paywalls. Okay, just getting you guys a coupon here. If you guys, so first of all, you can join the community for free, and there's like a getting started on BigCommerce course that you guys can take for free, and there's a couple other things. And then there's a premium side where I'm releasing really everything else, including some advanced stuff like this. And so if you guys are interested in joining that, you get access to office hours, you get access to office hours, premium community. Let me get this coupon code for you guys. We have like site audits in there. So if you want to post your URL and have us give you some ideas to improve on it. I'll jump in and look at your store and give you 3 or 4 or 5 ideas. It's a nice, safe place where you don't have to get it reviewed on YouTube for all the world to see, but you can get in there and get some good insights. We post like top apps and tools and things like that, and other stuff as we go. We just want to build an e-commerce community for store owners like you guys and me to come hang out and do cool stuff. I talk a lot about BigCommerce. I'm also going to be talking about Shopify in there over time. I do like BigCommerce the best. You guys probably know that. You can find the community at ecommerceamplifiers.com, and the code that I posted just before this, community 0324, will get you 50% off if you guys want to join. Now that's limited to the first 100 people that join, so supplies limited. Other questions? What do you guys have? If you guys joined us late, you can rewind this, put it in and rewind in your VCR and see what we did before, which was I showed you guys a GSheet tool that I built using app scripts that communicates to BigCommerce through API, downloads all the category information, lets you modify it, and then push it back up. Pretty cool. And again, the demo I did was on a store that only has 7 categories, but I'm sure everybody on here has more categories than that in their store. All right. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, I'm going to wrap up. If you want me to talk about something specific next week, let me know what you guys are struggling with. And I just want to, bring you guys cool stuff and show you what's possible. Sometimes things are small enough that I could just give it to you guys. Sometimes things are big enough that you have to really have something built for you. But I still want to show you guys what's possible, in scenarios like this. You guys are welcome to hit me up if you need help with your e-commerce store. My agency is Epic Design Labs, and we've been BigCommerce developers, designers, marketers since 2010. It's been our primary framework. We build BigCommerce. We don't fool around with WordPress. We do a little bit of Shopify, but BigCommerce is our jam. All right. Well, if you guys don't have any questions, appreciate you guys joining. Appreciate the comments we got. Appreciate you guys all. And I hope you found this helpful. Consider our community at e-commerce amplifiers. Use that coupon community 0324 for 50% off for the first 100 people. So get in while you can. It's not going to be expensive, even if you don't use the coupon code. I want our community to be very approachable, very no-brainer for everybody in the BigCommerce and Shopify worlds really to join. All right. Thanks, you guys. See you on the next one.